Okay, we are in Senate institutions. Today is Wednesday, May 6th, 2026. And our topic today will be H550, which is an act related to gender equity within Vermont's correctional facilities. And first we will hear from James Uliger, medical director at WellPath. And then we'll also hear from GLAD, G-L-A-D, the folks. And they will be here at 3. And we may do a confirmation at the end. So, okay. So, Dr. Uliger, I presume you're familiar with H550. We wanted to ask you here so that you could inform us and our deliberations and considerations. Does anybody from the on the committee want to pose questions or concerns or requests?
Was the doctor going to present something first, or we're just?
I don't know.
So what? If I don't mind, if I may start by just introducing myself.
Please. Oh, can we have more volume, please? Yes.
So
I don't think
my name is.
I'm sorry. Let me just, because we should introduce ourselves to you. I know you from the joint judiciary. Okay, so I'm Wendy Harrison, and I represent the Wyndham District.
And I'm Rob Puckett, the Bennington District.
Joe Major, Windsor District.
Ross Ingalls, that 6th District.
John Benson, Orange District.
And then, this committee is the institutions committee, and we also have corrections in our jurisdiction. And
So,
we have H550 in our committee.
Excellent. So, Dr. Jim Uliger, I'm a family physician by training, also board certified in addiction medicine. I've been medical director with WellPath, who's a state contractor for corrections healthcare, for about 2 years now. Prior to that, I was in community practice in Hinesburg, Southern Chittenden County, first in private practice, and then with the University of Vermont, and I was in some medical leadership there. So it's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate you guys inviting me. I think the most important thing to outline about H550 is that the part that I have the most, I would say the only expertise in, is really the provision of medical care to folks who are in custody. And my understanding is that part is not in what's been sent to the Senate. I think Haley, I can obviously legislation is not my expertise. So if I misquote the procedure, please let me know. But the House committee wanted to reserve that piece for later deliberation, and we did work on that piece a lot. So that's in a different version of the bill, and I don't know if you have that text in front of you, but I'm happy to give a general overview of the medical concerns of what we want to make sure we're both taking care of our patients, but also that we're kind of doing it in a responsible way. But Haley, did I get that right?
Yeah, that's accurate. And for the record, Haley Summer, Director of Communications for DOC. I'm not here to testify, but happy to answer any questions that pertain more to the operations side of things. I think what Dr. Uliger was referring to is that the original draft of the bill also contemplated making amendments to statutes governing healthcare provision in correctional facilities, and those sections were subsequently taken out. So while the bill doesn't directly address medical care, I know there are a few references to it.
So Haley, was that language put in another bill?
No, I think
status of it?
Yeah, what happened in the committee was that they wanted to ensure that they had the proper time to really dig into the statutes and not have this be a rushed process. And so they decided to take the language out of the bill for the meantime. I think they've continued discussions in committee, but there's no language that I've seen that's in any other bill being contemplated right now.
Okay, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Given that, I mean, in the short time frame that we're going, I'm not seeing this cross the finish line by the time we're done.
Well,
Well, Haley was talking about a separate medical part of a separate bill. This one is a lot more compact and more direct and directly reflects the policy that's already in there. So I think we do have time for this.
Is that accurate, Haley?
Yeah, apologies if I didn't make that clear enough. I was referring just to the first draft of H 550. There was a section in there that contemplated changes to the statutes governing medical care and correctional facilities, and that section was taken out before the bill passed out of the House. So it's no longer in the bill that's in front of you. It was just in the first draft. So apologies if that wasn't clear.
No, that's fine. So there's no mention of any kind of medical care or anything in this. Is that am I correct in saying that?
I think.
So-
Oh,
Go
you
ahead. Okay, so I think there's two pieces for, I think, the transgender care, the care of our transgender, our incarcerated individuals. One is primarily a security concern and how people are kept safe, how they're referred to, how, and et cetera. And I won't go on because that's not my part. The other
Sure.
thing is the kind of medical care that they get. And that's what I could speak most. And so not that the first part doesn't have any medical piece into it. And I'm looking through that version of the bill right now. And I think the biggest thing that I can say about the security aspect of it is that it's asking basically our security folks, and this is my healthcare bent, so I'm not a security person, but it's asking them to refrain from certain types of examinations that regarding genital status, which to me as a healthcare provider makes sense. Those are things that we do, and only when they're indicated. But the bulk of this is really about security procedure.
okay, so are you seeing anything that causes you concern or anything that you think is helpful?
I did testify in the House committee alongside our security colleagues, and I was very impressed from my medical bent with how they reviewed who is housed where. But I don't have any concerns about the text of this bill. Most of my involvement was on the section that was taken out.
Okay.
I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Regard. So, and this, Haley, you might be able to answer this more, but I'm looking at page 7 of draft 1.1 lines 6 through 10. I'll just read it. The most multidisciplinary review panels. This is for placement and classification. Shall consult with medical personnel, medical health professionals with experience in gender dysphoria or gender in care, and then et cetera, et cetera. So my question on this was, since this is policy now, that multidisciplinary review panel, is it including folks from the doctor's team? Is there a specific mental health provider regarding gender dysphoria, and how does that work? And part of the reason I'm asking it is that we had a group in here that was basically saying that transgender people are dangerous. But we also had a former transgender inmate here who did talk about how that initial classification can be important because there are some men that might try to take advantage of it. So I wanted to hear about that review I was hoping from the medical standpoint, but it might just be from an operations security standpoint.
I'm happy to speak from an operations standpoint, and then Dr. Uliger, feel free to jump in if you feel there's anything I've missed. Yes, there are multidisciplinary committees that review someone's housing. So if someone is booked into our correctional facility and they state that they identify as a transgender individual, we have a housing committee that is local to the specific facility, as well as a housing committee that is run within our central office. So it goes through multiple layers of reviews. Both committees have multiple folks from multiple disciplines. So our team at the central office consists of our classification director, as well as our director of constituent services and Prison Rape Elimination Act compliance, as well as I'm forgetting her exact title, but she is a mental health provider that works for DOC. She's not providing care in the facility, but she's on our health team, and some other folks. So that's how those decisions are determined. They take into account both the individual's stated preference for which type of facility that they'd like to be placed at, as well as factors that may create some security concerns. So, for example, if they have a history of sex offenses and they identify as a transgender woman and are requesting to be placed at a women's facility, that would be something that would need continued discussion to see whether that was appropriate. So it's factors like that that are taken into consideration when those decisions are made.
And is there a medical professional or medical part of that screening? And doctor, you might have already said this, that because you're not going to testify anything on this, but are you familiar with the review panel?
The folks on my team that are most familiar with it are mental health professionals. So our psychiatric director and our mental health director would be the ones to testify or to give that committee information that would help understand their diagnosis of gender dysphoria and I don't want to say the risk they pose, but that typically does not come from my side of the house, so to speak.
Okay. All right. So, the statement that you did make, could you say that again? Because it was kind of noisy here for a little bit. But it sounded as if you had a general perception or evaluation, not necessarily a detailed evaluation about what is happening. I would just like to get any sort of comment that you have since we have you here. I want to make your talk well worth it.
Absolutely, and I'm happy to, and I think, and I want to stay within my expertise, but I want to give credit, and I guess this is a tremendously difficult and challenging thing that I see from the housing perspective that my security colleagues are trying to pull off, and that's basically, and I, in my layman's from a security standpoint, words is to keep everybody safe, and so, and I see them doing that in earnest. And I saw them making suggestions to the bill that, and I've heard that testimony, I don't know if it was the same person, of a trans female who had testified that she was wanting to be safe herself, understandably, but she was also thinking of the safety of other trans folks who might not be trans that wanted to be in the female facility, for example. And that from my from my understanding of taking care of transgendered individuals just as human beings, the language that went into here was very carefully thought of. And from my medical standpoint, my security colleagues did a great job of making suggestions to keep people safe.
Okay, that's helpful. So maybe we are ready to thank you, but anybody else have any Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Uliger, and thank you, Haley. And Haley, we'll see you soon. Our next item is at 3, so if you want to be here then, that would be great. I'm talking to Haley. Unless obviously it's a public meeting, you can't, but we know you have work to do, so thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Okay. So everyone else, I'd like to add to the agenda a confirmation, not the confirmation yet of the commissioner, but one of the confirmations that 2 of you had, and this one is for John Holler. So I'd like to add that to the agenda when we come back. Okay?
Yeah.
All right.
Could we do that before?
You mean like now?
We could do it, yeah.
Yeah, if we can change
Oh,
the
yeah,
agenda.
not on this year, yeah.
Okay, sure. Are you ready to?
So we,
I thought we were gonna meet at 2:30, so I made another commitment, so.
oh.
Oh.
I always wanna.
Okay. Yeah, no, and it's a good use of our time to do it. So right here.
So, so we know back in June of 2025, the governor had appointed John Holler as a member of the Capitol Complex Commission. He'd been a member before. He's been a member, obviously, ever since then. And he's, so I think he was here at one point.
He was here this time and then in our previous iteration too.
He's resident of Montpelier. He's a lawyer and he's a former mayor of Montpelier. So he's clearly someone that would be qualified, more than qualified for the commission. And I did reach out to him. He's still interested in accepting the appointment. So I would recommend that we recommend his appointment to the Senate of.
Good, thank you. And he's great. Yeah, Senator Engels and I have met him and he's terrific.
Just like some things.
All right, anybody else have questions or comments?
But this is not a bill.
And confirmation for,
We
We just trying to figure out
John
how
Hall.
I fill this. work.
Right. Well-
That this is not a bill.
Right.
It's set up.
Well, we can also figure out what it is. You can just do a straw poll or or just do the votes.
it's the correct form.
Yeah, I'm not questioning that. It's just the way the form is set up. It's set up for a bill.
Right.
Well, that's
Well,
other.
put the date. I mean, we know the date and then for the title, we can just say, the 6th, May 6th. 5/6/2026. And then we can say confirmation of John Holler, just maybe on this title. Confirmation of John Holler to the Capitol Complex Commission. HOLL.
There.
Yes. So if the clerk could call the roll, please.
All right. Senator Benson. Yes. Senator Engel.
Yes.
Senator Major.
Yes.
Senator Plunkett.
Yes.
Senator Harrison.
Yes.
So it is a 5-0-0.
Sure. And I don't think there's anyone, we don't report it, so we'll just document it. So thank you very much, and thank you to John Holler for continuing to serve on this board. And unless somebody else has something, we are